first memories as a kid was I want to have a real job when I grow up. And to me, that meant you wear a suit, a hat, carry a briefcase, and go to your job. What did you think of a job when you were a kid? Do tell us in the comments below. Hello and welcome to the Empowered Women season of Talk and Beyond, where I present to you the most honest conversations of women who managed to break all the barriers to be on the top of the pyramid. And my guest today broke all the notions I had about a job. She's the founder of On That Job, a platform that helps you cope with the gap between your work and your perception of work. She's a senior product manager at Canva owned Pixels. This award winning product manager and consultant has worked at companies like ITC Infotech, DirectEye, gaming platform Loco, and marketing platform Clarisites. Presenting to you, Vindhya Chandrasekharan, popularly known as Windy Talks. Welcome to the show, Vindhya.
Hi, Priyanka. Thank you so much for having me and a big introduction there. But yeah, I hope I do justice to everything that we speak today and have more people in product.
I'm sure we'll do justice to it because I've heard you on Product Conversation and it has been phenomenal. Let's quickly dive into the conversation. It's an age-old joke that Indians take a career decision after their engineering. कि life में करना क्या है? Were you of a similar species? Was it a planned move to become an iOS developer, or did it just happen to you?
So engineering, yes. Like my dad actually, unlike other parents, did not want me to be an engineer. He wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor. Those were his first two preferences. And I wanted to do an English honor course in IIT Madras, and I got selected for the next round as well. But I needed to make a decision in case that did not happen, and my backup was engineering, and my dad did not want that at all. And my parents were very keen that I should really pursue something else. But I don't know, I think I just followed my sister. My sister is an engineer, so I was like, okay, if nothing works out, I'll be an engineer. And yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. And 4 years in, there were placements that were happening, and my dad was like, okay, maybe you should sit with these placements. And that's how that ITC Infotech job happened. And yeah, just like being an iOS developer was never part of that future, but it just so happened after engineering I got placed, and after placements we have like internal interviews to see what job role you fit in. And for me, that was iOS. So really somebody else chose that for me. But yeah, I really liked studying engineering, and it's been good, I would say. I don't know if I'd go back and be a lawyer, but engineering was as good as it got for me.
Okay. Did you enjoy being an iOS developer at the time when you started?
So I don't know, actually. Like, I really liked being a developer because I feel like you said in your introduction, for me, job always like meant somebody sitting in front of a computer doing something really important. And when I started coding, I was like, okay, this seems like, something really important, putting it on somebody's phone. And it was magical to me. So when I began, I really liked it. I was like, oh my God, like when you press a button on your phone, I am doing something to that. So that was really great. But I kept doing other things which were not part of my jobs. Like I would make up business plans and show it to the VP of the department I was part of. And there was this like CEO meetings and stuff where juniors were never invited, but I got to meet her, and I was just like, oh, I don't think your strategy is right at all. Like, why would you do this? Why is my entire department doing this? And it became a big thing because my department was like 300 people org, and this one junior developer who just started her career like 3 months ago is talking to the CEO about things. Everybody in my campus was talking about it, and back then I did not know it's such a big thing. But that's when I learned that, okay, I was gravitating more towards strategic things, or coming up with more pitches, building up mock screens and all of this. So in some sense, I was always doing product management, I guess, but I did not know that back then.
So universe gave you the ideas and put you in the right place and you started making the own decision and started hustling in your current job. That's fantastic. Okay, so moving on
Yeah.
to my next question. How and when did you realize that you wanted to switch to product management where the tags like IIT, ISB were a prerequisite? How did you go about overcoming the lack of this and building a profile in this domain?
Mm-hmm. So, like most things in my career, I did not know for product management you needed this backing from ISB or IAM. And I was very sure that at some point I will do an MBA. So the talk was, when will I do it? So if I had known back then that product management required this, or most companies prefer this, I would have definitely just done that, gone and done my MBA. But what happened was I somehow ended up a director because I figured, okay, I don't want to be a developer. What is the next best thing? And I just took up a project management job there. And to me, because I didn't know what product management is, I thought all of these things that I was interested in was part of product and was part of project. And that's my job. That's what I'll get to do. But it was completely different. I didn't get to do more strategic things. It was more timeline oriented. It was keeping everybody in check and doing a lot of that. And every PM at that point that I knew at Direct, I was from either ISB or IAM, and they were always recruiting from the best uh, institutes in India. And I did not go to one. I did not go to an institute that people even knew. I don't even think now people know that Christ has an engineering college. It's known more for its commerce and arts courses. So when I started, it was like, okay, I'm not going to do an MBA just because I want to make this career switch. I'll probably make the career switch and then do an MBA. So that's how this conversation started. And then I was like somehow very confident, like I will be able to crack it, because in my head, I was already good at this job. It was not the case at all, but I did not know that. It was like very, very naive of me to think that. Um, so back then, I used to read a lot, but I read a lot of nonfiction, and I was very, very sure that business writing is not for me. I'm not going to get into leadership books. This is not like where I see myself reading at all. But then if I did not do that, it meant like I had to go 2 years and do an MBA. So it was, okay, I have to start somewhere. So that's how I started. I literally just Googled, okay, what books should I be reading? And asked some colleagues of mine who were product managers, what are they reading? And just started reading that. So yeah, I think that was my break into PM in some sense, reading and knowing what you have to read. And then every day I used to go back with like 10 or 12 questions to the product managers at Director. Like, why is it like this? How can I improve this? I read this, but I did not understand. What else can I be doing? And I used to make them tell me a lot of stories about things that they have faced, or what do they really like about their job, or what do they not, and what is the kind of strategy decisions they make, why do they make a decision like that. I also went back in Directa. It has a really, really great culture that they write a lot. And Bhavin, who is the CEO there, gives a lot of videos about things related to product management and how he makes decisions, or how you should think about decisions and stuff. So yeah, we used to just over the weekends just sit and binge watch all of that, and then come back and ask people questions. So essentially, I did my own sort of learning like that.
Super. I think being curious and being naive is the way to go. You can be confident. You can be underprepared and not know about it, because if you knew about it, you'll have inhibitions anyway. So maybe this is why you did
Yeah.
not have inhibitions of getting into product management and being the one who's probably, disrupted all the barriers of actually having an IIT or ISB and making it work there. So I think this is an inspiration to a lot of them who really want to get into it and still do not have the prerequisite, as they call it. But you've actually told
Mhm.
in a very simple format that you don't need it. Just be curious, just hustle around and you'll get your way around, right? Works well.
Yeah, like in fact, a lot of people write to me and asked me about this, like, okay, I am just an engineer, or I'm not even an engineer. Can I become a product person? And I always just tell them my story. It's not that you need these degrees. It's just easier because they've done the work. They know that they will continue to do the work. So I wouldn't ever like stop somebody from doing an MBA, but it's not a requisite anymore. There are a lot more things that come up in your interview, and you have to really prepare for that. And once you're ready for it, yeah, I think it's doable now.
Do you think at this point of your career, your an MBA would add any more value to your profile?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I have been thinking about it myself, and right now it has not seemed, at least like the companies I have shown interest to work at, or the problems that I've really wanted to work at. I don't think an MBA would make a complete difference to me in the career ladder that I want to move, or in salary, or in negotiation. I don't see that being a thing. But if that ever changes, yeah, maybe. Like I'm not somebody that says, startups will teach you everything you need to know. That is the real MBA you have to take, or product management does not require an MBA and stuff. There are so many great people that have done MBA, so there is definitely some good things in it. It's just that I have not found that for me yet. So it's still a very, very open question for me. But yeah, as of now, I don't see myself.
Fair enough. Moving on. Networking is a skill which takes time to develop. Networking online is a different art altogether. What are a few takeaways you could share with people who want to create a strong network online with their content? What is your timeline like to a discipline writing schedule on blogs, Twitter, and LinkedIn?
So, one number one thing that I would say is, even if you are into networking, and a lot of people say this, is just start talking to a lot more people, like figure out who you really like and start talking to them and start engaging with them and things as such. But I feel that before you start networking, you really have to put out some content that other people want to read, or something that really entices them, something that shows them that you are an interesting person as well. Because not a lot of people just want to mentor people or want to give you information, right? Like some people will still do it, but it's not the most approachable way to things. Like a lot of people will just write to you and be like, oh, I really like what you write and I want to meet you. That does not give anybody enough sense of why you want to meet them, or why should they invest like 1 hour of their time and come and meet you and stuff. So I would say, one, just start putting out content that makes sense to you, and people will eventually start having conversations around that content. And that is how you can begin your networking journey, I would say. And two, I don't really think about the content I put out there, or I don't have a writing schedule. That's why I don't have a Substack or a newsletter, because I write very erratically. I write when I feel like, and I don't even put out when I publish things. It's just if people find it, they find it anymore. But when I did start writing, it was a big thing for me. Like I was very, very disciplined about it. I put out a blog every 2 times a week, and started having more conversations around it. It was very conscious that I would read more and share more. And a lot of things that I used to do privately now became public. Like I didn't have to adopt a persona or something. This is me. Like I read, I make notes, and now I was just sharing them online. So I think that's the number one thing that you have to do. You have to develop a habit for yourself before you start and involve everybody else, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or even writing on your blog. And the second thing, I think a lot of really big creators also say this, is the way you explain things is completely different from how somebody else will explain it. And some people will actually understand how you say it. So a lot of times I've heard like people will come back and say, oh, I really like the language of your blog because it's so easy to understand. And I sometimes when I read it, I'm like, oh, but like so many people say the same thing. I don't know why you would want to read this piece, but it makes a lot of sense to me when people started engaging with me because they understood the way I explained it. So that is it. Like, you understand your voice really well, and more people will also understand your voice. It's just you have to find your niche, and you could write the same things. You don't have to rewrite different approaches to a thing, and that's something that stopped me from writing. I was like, oh, I don't have anything new to say. I have read these 10 pieces and this is what I think. So, but it's not new. Like, I'm sure every product manager is thinking about this. Probably they are, but some people will listen to you better, and you need to find that audience. Like, some people are heard better on LinkedIn. Maybe the way of writing suits LinkedIn better. And some people are heard on Twitter better. And some people are really visual, so they are heard better on Instagram. And you just have to figure that medium for you. And once you've cracked one medium, then I think every other medium is almost similar, or the same people will start following you, so it becomes easier. But that's my number one tip. Like, create whatever you're consuming in a way that you understand, and more people will start talking to you. And then you also have a conversation to give to people, right? You're like, oh, I thought about this, I also saw that you thought about this. What are your views? And that really sticks with people, and then people start recommending you a lot more. And it's happened to me. Like, somebody will talk to me about a piece I've written, and then we'll have an exchange, and suddenly they'll be like, oh, this other person also has this view. I really think you should connect and talk. And yeah, that really helps because like you said, I don't have a tag to my name. I didn't go to like a big college or a big management course. So you're literally an outsider because all of these people have their own WhatsApp groups or like Twitter groups and stuff. So that's how, like, you have to make that effort, because you have to remember that they have this 4-year effort or a 2-year effort behind them. So you have to also get there. You can't, like, on day one be like, okay, I'm just going to ask everybody to meet me or say hi to them and they'll respond to you. It's very unlikely they'll do it.
Yeah. You rightly said the pressure of being original and having the latest content is a lot, and it consumes a lot of people as well. So don't try to be very different. Just go
Yeah.
where the trend goes and start following, or probably start explaining in your own words. And that's what you're doing. And I think that's why a lot of people start connecting to you. And you rightly
Mhm.
said MBA has given a base to networking as a whole. They have that
Yeah.
skill already inbuilt in them, which is why if you are a non-MBA, start making a little more effort more than the MBA guys, right? Absolutely
Yeah. Yeah,
fantastic.
like, that's very, very true, right? We forget that these people have 4 years of college behind them, 2 years of MBA behind them, and
Yeah,
that's why this is there. And you can't just come in and say, no, I want to be part of you all. Like,
correct.
it's not attainable that easily. Yeah.
Yes, you need to earn that place. You cannot just get it.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Jumping gears to the role of side hustles and side projects. What was the genesis of On That Job? Tell us more about this. What are you trying to address here?
So on that job was born in a day, actually, because I was product consulting when I was between jobs and I was moving continents. I'm currently in Germany. So when I was making that move and COVID hit, I was not really sure when I'll move. So I didn't want a full-time job. And therefore, I took up product consulting. And I saw this gap when I started interviewing a lot of people for product management. It would all come down to like the same interview methods that people have read about. And there are a lot of blogs that will teach you how to interview better. But beyond that, like, there was nothing more to it, right? They would not know how to tackle like certain problems, or they would be completely lost how to tackle certain things in their current job and stuff. So it's literally a question that kept coming in my mind. Okay, what do you actually do on that job? Like, I have no idea what a marketing person does for a quarter. So what do you do on that job? Like, I kept asking myself that, and I started asking people that, like, what does your day to day look like? And then I realized, like, even though there were so many courses back there that taught you how to interview better as a product manager, There were no courses that taught you how to become a good product manager, or what was the essential exercise that you had to remember, what were the things that you had to put in place so that you don't continue making these mistakes all the time. And that was the genesis of on that job. And then I spoke to Dallin, who was also looking for some side hustle to do. And I was like, okay, this is in my mind. And I really want to like help more people crack how they do their job, but better by telling people what I do on my job and hearing you talk about what you do on your job, and also tell them the mistakes that we made, so people don't continue making them. And I was already doing like 1 day workshops, or I was taking like these sessions in private where I was like, okay, this is how I think about PRD, these are the mistakes I've made, this is how I have been doing research and I don't think of it like this, or this is how I'm communicating with developers and designers. And I was like, okay, let me formalize and make something out of it, and we'll put it out there and we'll see what happens. And it was very early in 2020 that we came up with this idea and stuff. And back then, cohort based courses was not like the most hot thing to do. And nobody was really like talking a lot about product management courses and stuff. And I'm very sure that if I had seen so many people do it, I would have just said, okay, somebody's solving this problem and it's very well addressed, so we don't have to come in and do it. But yeah, that's how it was born. There was nobody that we knew that was doing it the way that we wanted to do it, and then we started it. And it's been a great journey. I really love listening to people who have taken on that job or even applied, tell me various stories. They're like, oh, we got a job because of this, or this thing that you told me really helped me at my job, or I've never seen a perspective like this, even though I've read everything that everybody recommends. And that was another thing that I was facing as well. Despite the fact that I learned a lot of my initial days of product management via the books and via the blogs and YouTube, it was the same 5 books or 3 YouTube links everybody would send. And I was like, okay, but if we are all reading the same things, but we are not the same level of product manager. So there is definitely some difference there. And how do I become like better at it? And to me, that answer was discussing these problems with other people, showing my work to people and being like, how can I, establish myself better? And I wanted to bring what I was doing to more people. And that's on that job.
That completely makes sense. But Vindhya, do you even realize the cohort-based learning has now become a trend, and it's on a high, all-time high right now? Do you think you would want to expand your foray more than product management to any other courses or any other jobs that probably fit in your criteria?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, other than design, I haven't seen a lot of people explore other parts of tech and teach people what really happens on those jobs. And that's something I envision us doing. I really want to do it. But like you said, it's such a trend now, like Substack, when Substack came around, everybody was like, oh, I'll start a newsletter. Or a lot of people like this, right? Start YouTube channels, but they don't know how to continue. They're not very consistent. So to me personally, that's what is happening in cohort-based courses. Everybody thinks that they can carry this forward, they can continue doing this. It's not that easy. Like teaching is the easiest aspect of doing this, but there are so many more things that you have to figure out. And ops, even though it is online, it's really a difficult thing to crack for something like this. And teaching, to me, like teaching is really the art that will carry forward whatever on that job does. So I hold every session at like the greatest height that I can hold it, and I hold everybody that even puts out any content out there very, very accountable. So even if you read like Dallin's work on his blog, it's very, very nuanced. It's really well. And even though I knew a lot of product managers, I was sure if I had to start something, it would be with someone like him. And he brings a lot of that to the table. So that's the thing. I haven't actually found a lot of people who will be really great at teaching. Like they would be great at just talking or coming on one session, but putting a lesson plan together for 2 months and shooting that many videos and giving assignments and taking that feedback, working through it, it's a really big loop. And I know everybody's going to try it. And a lot of people now say, oh, it's so easy, like 2 years in, you just make a course and you make money out of it. It's not that at all. Like, we actually don't make much out of on that job. It pays us way, way less than our actual jobs. And we have a lot of friends and people who help us behind on that job also. But yeah, I really want to bring the best set of teachers. And like I said in the beginning, if somebody else was solving it better than on that job, I would have said, no, let's not do it. Like, it's fine. We'll just join them, or we'll ask them how they're doing it, and try to be part of their team. So I want to bring in more courses for sure. That's on our roadmap. But we want like teachers who are really dedicated, who really care, to come and teach. And that's the most prestigious thing that we get. Like, somebody is trusting us to learn with us, and I want to hold everybody really accountable to what they teach at on that job. So we'll see. Hopefully, if somebody sees this and they are those people, I really hope they write back to us.
Absolutely. I wish the same. And easing the process of getting into a job which no one else is doing right now is really important, because there are no mentors for them, right? You can't just go out and seek mentors. So you are one of them. And I think this is going to probably go places. Congratulations to you. And I hope this really, really works well. All right, Vidya, this has been a fun conversation. But before I let you go, I have one small round for you, which is called the rapid fire round. This is going to be extremely personal, and I'm sure you're going to love it. All right, are you ready?
Right, let's go. Mm-hmm.
Your favorite book of all times?
Any.
You can't take so long. Come on.
Really like.
Quick.
I'm so sorry. I have so many. I can't really choose. I want to say, I don't know. I want to say Secret 7, because that was the first series by Enid Blyton that I read. And I have a nephew and niece. So I make everybody read Enid Blyton. So I would say she triggered that reading mind in me. So her.
All right. Secret 7 it is. Your go-to act to feel refreshed?
I either sit in the sun. I really like sitting in the sun, or I dance.
Oh, nice. We should see you dancing then in one of your videos there when we talk. All right. Your version of a good day?
Great breakfast, a lot of cake, and probably sit in the sun or rain and watch a really funny movie.
All right. If you could go back in time, what's that one thing you would like to change in your life?
I've really thought about this, and I keep telling everybody that my college was like not a place I should have been in at all, but that's also where I met my husband, so I can't say that anymore. So I would say nothing.
All right.
But if not him, then I would say universe.
Okay. All right. A millennial obsession you feel is overrated?
Overthinking. Like, I feel like we're doing everything now, and there is a method to all the madness. Like, there's a way to feed your baby, there's a way to get married, and a lot of different things. So yeah, I think millennials are overthinking a lot.
All right. A networking hack that worked well for you?
Writing.
Okay.
A lot of writing.
Right. An advice you've carried on for life?
Not to be afraid to call somebody out. And I do that constantly. I don't think what position somebody is in. If I think something's wrong, I will just write them a message and I will deal with the consequences. But it also gives me the opportunity to not have this little gang. I'm part of like no gang, so I can say whatever I want. And I really, really like that. It's also why we started on that job. On that job completely works on my principles. So it's not money, it's not sales. It runs on what I believe is right, and which is like humanitarian and being nice to people. So yeah, I'm never afraid to tell people that you're not nice.
Yeah, so being brave, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your last words of wisdom on the show.
Don't think you can't do something. You just go ahead and try, because you never know where it can take you. But trying also means a lot of consistency and keeping up with it. So if you say, okay, whether it's product management or you want to start a startup or you simply want to get better at life, everything is about just showing up. And that's something like somebody told me. It's not about having discipline. It's not about being motivated. It's just showing up every single day and do the same thing, and something will change. And that's been right for my job, for Twitter, for writing, everything. Just show up every single day.
Consistency is the key. Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Vindhya, for your time. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, this was so much fun, especially the rapid fire. I've never done that, but thank you so much for having me and letting me talk. And I hope you inspire a lot more women and bring amazing women to your show, and I can learn more from them as well.
I hope everything you say becomes true. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. All right.
See
Yes.
you.